de pena moriría también. Silencio, que están durmiendo los nardos y las azucenas. No quiero que sepan mis penas, porque si me ven llorando morirán. Silencio, que están durmiendo los nardos y las azucenas. No quiero que sepan mis penas, porque si me ven llorar morirán. Morirán.
Bello.
Encantado de estar esta tarde aquí deleitándolos con mi canción y espero que sean del agrado de todos ustedes. Con el favor de Dios vamos a pasar una tarde muy bonita. Y pueden hacer peticiones que si la canción que piden esté en mi repertorio, yo con mucho gusto se la canto, ¿sabes? Me dirán que de tanto quererte me voy a morir, que no vale cualquier sacrificio, lo podrán decir, que no quieres saber de mi nombre, eso ya lo sé. Pero yo, que te quiero de veras, no sé qué diré. ¿Qué te importa decir por doquier? Y ya te perdí.
Que la bilingüe, especialmente con los que están dentro de la isla y los fuera. It gives me much pleasure that I've been asked to come out here to New York to speak at a university that's based in the island, that is in fact trying to make a mark here in New York City as many Puerto Ricans have in the past.
It's the best university in Puerto Rico.
The only university. That gives me a lot of pleasure to be able to speak here on behalf of the school. And I actually would not be here if it were not for not only the enthusiasm of Will and his having me on his show as regularly as he does. I keep feeling that he's going to get tired of me. Never seems to happen.
Never.
It must mean he doesn't have a lot of friends. He was the one who reached out to Alfonso. He was the one who reached out to several colleges here in New York and made it a priority. Even when I was distracted with other things, he was on the hunt to get me over here, and so I greatly appreciate him for that. Also, I have to thank Norma Burgos, who's a writer you all may not be familiar with. She is a New Rican who returned to the island. And she did not just return to the island, she returned to the island after the financial crisis started. And it was actually a part of her creative mission to detail what is going on in the island now. And she's been featured in La Respuesta with a series called Exodus, Why I'm Sticking It Out, My Diaspora Riqueña Story. And she actually paid for my ticket. She's actually the reason that I was able to fly out here. And so as a way of saying thank you, as a way of saying thank you to her, I wanted to share some of her writing with you all before we get started with our particular show. And I'll get to that in just a moment. But before I do, I also just want to thank Nelson Dennis for his hospitality and also welcoming me here. And this whole big New York family that I've somehow created out of thin air. You know, I did not grow up here in New York. I was a Puerto Rican who lived all over the East Coast and for a very, very brief time on the West Coast when I was like 2. And you know, my sister who I'm very happy to have here, she's made New York a home for herself. But our family doesn't really have roots here, and until a few years ago, didn't really know anybody who lived here. And now I have just a great community here in New York, so I might have to actually start considering you guys a second home. So, so not there's anything wrong with it.
Where are your roots?
Yes, so just, oh, no, not for roots, no. I'm sorry, what?
Where are you from?
Oh, where am I living? I am living in Colorado at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Colorado, so Boricua out west. In the Rockies, where it's very pretty, but it lacks an ocean. It saddens me a great deal. Mountain lakes just aren't the same. So, so you know, I think, como la canción famosa dice, Boricua medio, Boricua en la luna. Yeah, Boricua en la luna, you know, Puerto Ricans, you're Puerto Rican everywhere. And Puerto Ricans, you know, we're a tiny island, but we have a personality to conquer the world. So I very much aspire to that. So before I get into kind of the setup of this show, because the show is very different than your normal literary event, I want to share a little bit of Norma's writing. I'm a diasporican, diasporan returning, a bilingual rural community developer advisor in the San Juan Metro Zone. Hope still alive in a small northern elevated coastal town, population 39,000, cupped in Mother Nature's gracious hands, warmed by her soothing ocean breezes' breath, embraced in her long arms of glorious coastlines and captivating sun-drenched beaches, tropical lush green forests and rolling hills on all sides. Ask yourself, who would want to leave this Garden of Eden, lock, stock, and barrel, and why? Not yet of retirement age, I moved back from San Francisco in 1999 to my late parents' Guayama rural homestead along the depressed southeastern coast of the island. We are descendants of African slaves who up until the early 1900s toiled the sugarcane fields for La Colonia, the long-gone Centro Aguirre U.S. sugar processing plant. Elders of my clan are proud to relate to their Americana niece, born and raised in NYC. In those early days, mi familia, acá y allá, didn't know what to make of my sudden return or California exit. My aging parents and adolescent daughter in tow, no job prospects and no pockets bulging with the American gold it is custom to bring back to Borinquen to provide for the sturdy, affordable, tropical getaway or permanent island home. Sobrina, how could you return to Puerto Rico, pela? Blurts Tio, my mother's rather blunt brother. Prima, don't expect to earn the higher salaries of the United States. My cousin, his son, gives me another reality check. What kind of a welcome back is that? I privately mused, and my California transplant family thought I was crazier than the Mad Hatter subjecting my 13-year-old to the backward adventures of Third World Land. Who knew? I expected more sustainable island progress had been attained from the U.S. Commonwealth affiliation since 1952. Never say never to a woman on a mission. Some surprises were in store for both me and them. I came back to Puerto Rico banking on me, a struggling single working mom. I was determined my derailed Cali Rican child be infused with me el orgullo boricua, the pride of our Puerto Rican people, the wholesome family values and time-honored cultural traditions, comida criolla y música salsa I fondly remembered and missed. Unlike my siblings, Puerto Rico was always in my blood since my first summer sojourns. A wide-eyed teenage aspirant leadership trip, cultural exchange tours from the South Bronx. My homeward journey 30 years later, in a sense, was preordained by the circumstances of a traumatized childhood, a witness to and a survivor of domestic violence and alcohol abuse in New York. Despite the sprawling energy costs of the insolvent monopoly La Autoridad de Energía
streamed into the darkness high
Electric
above
Power
them,
Company,
beneath the
Galleon
jagged
Island,
rock ceiling, millions of
governments
them.
half-baked
Their
privatization.
jerky maneuvering made for much confusion, but the hair maiden's deathly passion couldn't be forgotten. They were harmless, he knew, but terrified him for reasons he couldn't say. Something wriggled near his feet, so he sat up. One of the unlucky creatures limped around on his sleeping bag below his navel, right where the rotting phantom lady had unleashed her impacts of demonic desire upon him. It couldn't resume its journey with the others, spinning in a circle and dragging a limp wing behind it. The sun painted the sky with new life just beyond as the wounded bat convulsed a few times, bared its piercing needle-like fangs in a moment of victory, and launched itself into the air, where it disappeared into the shrieking chaos.
And it's called Ghetto Nostalgia, Palladino Avenue. So you know where that is? Yes, I like it. Okay, in case you don't know, I'll tell you. Palladino Avenue is between the FDR Drive and what we call Crack Park. Palladino Avenue, the avenue that goes backward. The numbers of its building increase from north to south, not the other way around like its neighbor, First Avenue. Naked, no lane markings, narrow yet defiantly remaining a two-way street. It rebels against the grid system of Manhattan streets, curving its street-block length as it refuses to play it straight. I stand on Palladino Avenue and I am transported back to simpler days, back when we played on jungle gyms so unsafe they could kill us, and we lived for the danger. Days of manhunt and dodgeball giving way to asphalt, basketball in the summer, and street football in the winter, where instead of the instant replay, we had the do-over, car was in the way. Back when rappers didn't die. They only faded into obscurity, making room for the next class of street poets. Back to days of spelling bees and assemblies, honor guard and carrying the flag, pledges of allegiance and not knowing what it all stood for or meant. Back when Saturday nights were filled with SNL and Apollo and whatever else was on TV. Back when you couldn't hang out too late or else face Miss Antoinette on the 9th floor who was on tenant patrol and you know she would tell your mama. Back in those days when Rocky was still Jorge, Nancy, Nadine, and Edna were the Bochincheras of PS 112 and 206, 3 gorgons of gossip. Lucy! The epitome of new Latina cool with a pixie cut, dyed blonde, short pum-pum shorts and attitude for
I
days.
guess the community here is
Back when Armando, Salo, and Shandu were
we're
my
so
boys.
Americanized. I have a feeling a lot of the things they do here aren't anything like they are on the island.
It is very different, but you'll see. It's like you wake up from a long nap when you get there. Everyone claps when the plane lands and the smells. You go to the piñones and all you can smell is alcapurria and bacalao, and they have these massive tostones there, like they smashed an entire plantain. There's music from end to end, like a huge party. And even though there's a lot of poverty on the island, especially where my mother's family lives, everyone seems happy, like nothing can conquer them. And the food is so fresh. Like this watermelon is good, it's organic, but it lacks flavor, you'll see. The food outside of the US is so much more flavorful.
I'm afraid I'll go there and feel like a stranger.
You won't. At least you can speak some Spanish. There's nothing more embarrassing than being a Latino who doesn't know Spanish.
Even if I didn't, everyone thinks I'm European. I could pretend.
But you'll know, on the inside,
And what about my skin color?
why? Because you're light-skinned?
Yeah, I mean, I always felt so weird not being tan. People would always say, but you don't look Puerto Rican.
That's just ignorance. You can't live your life feeling bad for other people's stupidity. I'm not dark-skinned, I have no accent, but my love for the island and for myself is what people see. Maybe when they first meet you and they don't know, they'll say something, but once people on the island see the love you have for your country, they'll respect you. A lot of stereotypical Puerto Ricans have no love for the island. They don't speak or listen to our music or eat our food. They just they just look like jibaros. No one respects them.
I got a lot of cousins like that. That's why I studied Spanish in college, but it hasn't done me much good so far.
Well, honey, no one can take away how you feel on the inside. When people see your passion for the culture, that's all that matters. Skin color is just the first impression. What really stays with people is your heart, corazón. And what we come in all shapes and sizes, don't let those gringos make you feel bad because you don't live up to their low expectations. Oh my God, I read more than I was supposed to, right?